Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Beyond Light Season of the Chosen intel. And we have a pretty exciting week ahead of us. This week's Nightfall Ordeal will see the return of the fallen Saber strike, and because Grandmaster is now available, this actually becomes one of the easier Grandmasters to actually do because of a fairly major glitch that I have talked about on this channel before, but there has been some new and improved methods to this particular glitch, so we're going to cover all of them. But first, I just want to remind everybody I'm still doing the giveaway on my YouTube channel. The next one will be at 50,000 subscribers. All you have to do to be entered into that giveaway is like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the notifications, the bell that's right next to the big red subscribe button, and follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. As always, stick around till the end of the video for the secret hashtag you can leave in the comments section to be entered into that giveaway a second time for this video. And remember, those stack between all videos, so if you haven't done this on a previous piece of content on this channel, why not go back, check out another video, and of course, do it again. So a couple of things to mention first about the Fallen Saber strike. As I said, it is a returning D1 strike. It was probably my favorite, or at least one of two of my favorite strikes from D1. It used to be definitely one of my favorite Nightfalls to solo, and you could really break it down into four sections. First being the Warsat, which in my opinion is probably the most challenging section other than the actual boss fight. The second would be the tunnels, and then the orb section, which is also equally challenging, though probably cumulatively only as challenging as the Warsat or the boss. And then the final is the actual boss fight. Now, unfortunately for the two middle sections, though there is a couple of cheeses that you can use, I have not found any of them to really be as relevant as I would hope. That is, at least when you're doing it at Grandmaster. Lower difficulties, they might be a little bit more viable, but we're only really going to be talking about things that you could use for a Grandmaster run, because I have a feeling that's what more people are going to be going for, and otherwise this strike is short enough where a 100k or even a solo run is actually not that difficult if you're doing it at, say, 1300. So we're going to go through every section now. The first thing you're going to want to do when you're starting off a run is head over to this first ship. Now, if you're on a console, I would suggest giving yourself some time here because it can be a little bit tricky with consoles all at 60 FPS. But if you're on a PC, I would cap your frame rate at 30 FPS, and that's going to give you the easiest entry through that barrier that you just saw me drop through and out of the map. You do this simply by getting on your Sparrow and kind of jamming it behind that one pillar that's fallen down and is leaned up against the wall. Try to get your camera angle to be clipping through the wall, and then get off the Sparrow. And usually you'll fall through. If your frame rate is capped at 30 frames, you'll definitely fall through every time. You can scan the hidden dead ghost that is still left over from D1. Get back on your Sparrow if you want, and then head over into this section. Now, I do suggest getting off your Sparrow before you actually jump onto that one rock, because there is a death barrier that you can jump into, and it will cause your Sparrow to explode. Get up onto that second rock around the corner and hit the grotto's loading zone. Then move back onto the same rock and jump across to this rock. Once you're here, you're going to want to look below that little edge where you see it clipping and fly your way over to this rock that's sort of floating here. Now, if you're on a Warlock, it's very easily done with Heat Rising or a Super. If you're on a Titan using Lion Rampant and a sword, it's also very easy. And if you're on a Hunter and you use the Lament flying trick as well as Stompies, you'll also be able to make it. So on all three classes, you can actually make that jump. It's definitely the easiest done on a Warlock. Now you can make your way over to the actual Warsat. Now here, your teammates could actually stay out of zone and you could do this whole thing by yourself. It does take a little while, but in a Grandmaster, that's to be expected anyway. You have to scan the Warsat from this side of the Warsat. That is the side that is sort of up on the hill a little bit higher than the bottom side. You won't actually be able to release your ghost at that point. But then once you've actually scanned it, I would suggest making your way back around to sort of the lower side of this little hill, because you'll actually be able to jump a little higher, and that gives you a little bit more time in proximity to the actual Warsat. So you get about a 2-second countdown per jump rather than maybe just a 1-second countdown. Now here you could use a super if you wanted to actually hover in the air a little bit longer. Heat rising also helps. Or if you're using any sort of stasis subclass, you could use your grenades and stand on them. Or if you were using, say, can't remember the name of the exotic at the moment, but the one that actually shoots the frost at the ground, the grip, can't remember, but it's a grenade launcher that you could use. You could actually stand on any of that stasis, and you could make that whole process a little bit easier. Once you've actually completed the Warsat, you'll head back down that little hill and hit the next loading zone for the mine. Then you can actually head back up the hill, and you should, if you stay to the left of this sort of ledge, as you can see, there's the entrance to the mine down below. You can actually jump back into the mine. Don't derp like I did here. But if you do, don't worry too much, because you'll actually teleport into the mine. Sometimes this happens even when you're running down the hill to actually load the second checkpoint. They'll just load you into that section as a dead ghost, and unfortunately your teammates will have to revive you. Now if you are doing this on Grandmaster, that is a revive that's going to be cost to you. However, when you consider the upside of being able to do the Warsat from underneath and not take any deaths during that whole section, it's still a bit of an advantage overall. But if you're doing it correctly, you should actually be able to jump back into the tunnel. Just stay on the left side of the tunnel when you see it. Don't go to the right side like I did, because there is an invisible barrier there. Now once you're actually in the boss room, there are 2 places that you can hide 2 different teammates, or maybe 1 teammate, that will allow you to bypass all the damage, or at least stay clear of all the damage. And it's right here in the beginning where you see me standing. These 2 little spots that are right on these 2 pillars as you drop down. You can make it into these even once you've dropped down onto the floor. But essentially you can just hide in these little rivets that are in these pillars, and you'll be okay from most of the damage. I would say hide maybe 1 or 2 teammates here, or if you're the last teammate left alive, it's a good place to just sort of hold out until you can maybe recoup or get your teammates back. Other than that, it's a fairly straightforward strike. It's actually pretty quick, fairly short, so if you are someone who's just going for the Grandmaster completion, this is going to be one of the weeks that you're probably going to want to do it. Also, the Swarm is the unique weapon available for this strike this week, I believe. So just keep that in mind if you haven't picked up a Swarm. I don't know if it's really one of the 3 that people are really going after. I know the Palindrome is a very popular hand cannon at the moment, and I believe the Shadow Price, just for nostalgia, is sort of still something quested after. I don't know if the Swarm is really hitting all those boxes that everybody wants as far as palindromes and the Shadow Price are concerned, but it's still a fairly fun, unique weapon, something to grind for. Unfortunately, we don't have a double loot week, I believe, this week, but still, fun Nightfall to do nonetheless. So that's going to be it for all the information in today's video. Thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. For the secret hashtag, you can leave in the comments section of today's video. Leave a hashtag Dead Ghost, because we just scanned one, or a hashtag Season of the Chosen, or a hashtag Beyond Light. And as always, I am Wilhelm Scream. Of course, we will see you in the next video. Little